Okay, Doctor, if we can start.
Yes, you will introduce us, or?
It's okay, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody, our friends in Saudi Arabia. Good afternoon, everybody in Saudi Arabia. This is Dr. Vivian Exartier from the Royal University for Women, live from Bahrain. My dear colleague, Ms. Dana Jouman, International Affairs Officer, live from Bahrain. And my dear friend and colleague, Mr. Hank Oliver, Director of Global Advancement under the Global Affairs at West Virginia University. Today, we welcome you in our webinar series organized by Univer to talk about a special program, which is a unique program between RUW and West Virginia University. And we call it the West Virginia University Articulation Program. So you see the US flag. Let me tell you, first of all, about the story between RUW and West Virginia. We've been friends for a very long time, since 2008, and Hank, who was with me on this call, has been to RUW many times. I also went to West Virginia many times. I actually studied there. And under this partnership, we organize all kinds of initiatives. You know, we looked at student exchange, faculty exchange, we organized conference together, to the extent that at some point we're like, okay, we should do something deeper and bigger. And this is what this program is about. So with this program, we call the Special Articulation Program or the American degree, we wanted to really show how vibrant this relationship is. And you might think that West Virginia and Bahrain have nothing in common. To the contrary, we have so much in common. We energy producer, we about the same size, very warm people, very friendly people. So we have a lot in common. And to the extent that West Virginia, I mean, Hank will say that in a minute, I think is the #1 destination for Saudi students. So quite a popular destination in the Gulf in terms of higher education. So what we came up with, ladies, is a special program where when you join RUW, then you have the chance eventually after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depending in your interests and how eager you are to eventually pursue your studies abroad, you could join West Virginia University. Right. So this is quite a unique program as the credits are actually worked out between the different schools, right? And on top of that, this is something we're happy to announce this afternoon. The students who join us at RUW as a gateway to go to West Virginia later on will be eligible for the global rate fees, which is very attractive. But I'll let Hank the privilege to talk about how generous this mechanism is for our students. So this is what we call the Real American Degree. Here's a small picture of the Morgantown campus. So what are we looking at in terms of program for ladies who are interested in joining us at RUW? Well, there's two possible schools that you could apply for with us and then eventually go to West Virginia University. If you were to study, a College of Art and Design, right? Eventually you could transfer for fashion, dress and merchandising, graphic design and interior design. In the College of Business, so you could start with us in one of the majors, banking and finance, international business, HR and marketing, and then transfer for one of the majors at the Chambers College of Business and Economics, global supply chain, organizational leadership, accounting, or let's say economics. So this is kind of an overview of the program. And now I will let Dana talk about why should you start in Bahrain and why you should join us first. Dana, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Yeah, there I am. Okay, so just before I talk about you should start at RUW, I want to talk a little bit about why you should start your university journey here in Bahrain. I know most of our attendees today are from Saudi Arabia, and as you know, in terms of proximity, we're basically neighbors. So if you're considering going down this path that Dr. Vivian just explained and graduating from the US, Bahrain is a really great location for you to transition in. And the experience is designed for those of you who are nervous to take that leap and immediately leave the country. I mean, leave the region, and you go abroad, but still want to have that college experience. That's a little bit far away from home. so Bahrain is great because it's still close enough to Saudi Arabia and it's very familiar. It feels like home, yet you're still far away enough where you can have that freedom and independence you want as a college student. Yeah. So even though we're a tiny island, we have a lot to offer. I know most of you are probably familiar, but we have a lot in terms of beach life, culture, entertainment, networking, food. So there's a lot to do, and there's something for everybody. Yeah. Next slide. So why RUW? RUW is a really great place to start your journey. And just to give you a little bit of history, it's the only institution in the kingdom that was built, whose sole purpose was built for the education and empowerment of women. It's a very comfortable environment where you'll be able to self-express and develop your personalities and become very dynamic decision makers. It's a place that's designed for you to find yourself and explore, and most importantly, be able to have that experience where you're simultaneously close enough and far away from home. So it's a really great stepping stone if you're planning on finishing your study in the US. Yeah, so this is just a little bit about what I discussed. You make a lot of your friends there that you'll carry on for the rest of your life. You have that campus life experience. There's many clubs and activities. There's a real sense of community, and there's a lot of exposure. I think Dr. Vivian will talk you through some of it here. Or do you want me to do it, Dr. Vivian? I just need to pull it up. You're mute. Hello? You're on mute, Doc.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, so now you can continue, Dana, but
Yeah.
about those features and the attributes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just need to put it up 1 second because it's too small.
Okay, so let me just continue. So, why should you join us? Because first of all, the ratio professor, 20-1, the diversity in the student body. Of course, you will hear about West Virginia, which is also a very diverse campus, but in Bahrain as a multicultural country, Dana being Bahraini, I'm from France. So we have people from the entire Gulf region and beyond, of course, and Europe and Asia, experienced faculty members who've been trained all over the world. So I'm one of the professors that was trained at West Virginia. Some of my colleagues from India trained in England. Some of my German colleague trained in Denmark, and many stories, similar stories. As Dana showed, our students are very much involved in competitions, whether it's about entrepreneurship, it's about trading, about moot court, arbitration. And of course, as Dana showed some of the pictures, you're really exposed to an economic hub. Right. So not only, of course, Saudi is also is an economic center, but Bahrain is famous for its fintech. I think the second largest aluminum smelter in the world. Very big on entrepreneurship, as I mentioned, and of course, we also have some unique attributes. For instance, we offer those educational trips. So of course, you'll be ready to go to the US in year 2 or year 3 or year 4. But also we organize shorter trips to other regions in the world. And finally, we're very keen on developing foreign languages at the university. And we're the only university in the region who offers Italian as a language. Anyway, so now a lot of special things. Why should you join this program? We'll hear in a minute, but I'm going to, first of all, give the floor to Hank, who's going to tell us about the West Virginia leg. So please, Hank, tell us why it's exciting to go to West Virginia in year 2, year 3, or year 4.
Absolutely. Give me 1 second and let me get my PowerPoint up. Let's see if this is going to... We had it working earlier, so... 1 second, of course. Let's see there. Is it working? Can everyone see the PowerPoint? Excellent. So I want to take a moment to thank my colleagues from RUW and thank you students from around the Gulf region for allowing us to do this and taking the time to watch. As Dr. Vivian said at the beginning, my name is Hank Oliver. I'm the Director for Global Advancement at West Virginia University. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about West Virginia University, which is the strategic partner with RUW in the region. So we're really happy to offer this program that allows students to earn an American degree by starting their studies at RUW and finishing in the United States, doing all of that at a reduced cost, much less than it would typically cost to study in the United States. So first of all, a lot of people first ask, where is West Virginia and where is Morgantown? So we put together this really great graphic that helps showcase exactly where we are in the region. So West Virginia is actually located in the geographical center of the East Coast of the United States. So we're about a 3.5-hour drive from Washington, D.C., an hour and a half or an hour from Pittsburgh, very close flights to most of the United States. You can drive to New York in 6 hours. You can get around really easily. So what is it like in West Virginia? Now, I've spent a lot of time in the Gulf region. I've spent a lot of time in Bahrain and in Saudi. So I can say that I do have to admit that I prefer the weather here a little bit. But so we do have 4 distinct seasons here in West Virginia. So we have a really, really wonderful spring. We have a wonderful summer. It is actually quite hot. Our summers are not too different, to be honest. It's very humid here. It is very hot. Our fall is the most perfect time and the most beautiful place on earth. And then we do have winter and we have snow and we have low temperatures. So you really get all 4 seasons in one place. So at WVU, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is our outdoor location. We're an incredibly green state. West Virginia is the most forested state in the United States. So with that, we have a lot of outdoor beauty, a lot of outdoor recreation. So we have things like whitewater rafting, we have skiing, we have rock climbing. This is the New River Gorge Bridge, which is the largest suspension bridge in the Western Hemisphere. All of these things are just within a couple hours, if not less than an hour from our campus. So you have access to all of this when you come to study at West Virginia University. Another thing that we find that's really appealing to a lot of people is the athletic experience. It is something that is distinctly American. And so we think it's a great thing for international students to get to experience when they come and study in the US. We have one of the top women's soccer programs, or you call it football, we call it soccer, in the world. This is our football stadium, American football stadium. It holds 65,000 people. So most Saturdays throughout the entire fall semester, which runs from August to January, this is going to be filled with, as we say, you and 60,000 of your closest friends. So it's a great experience, and we really hope that you all be able to take advantage of it. We also have a wonderful basketball facility. But the thing is, no matter where you are from or who you are, WVU is a great place to call home. WVU has students from 108 different countries in all 50 states. And we actually were recognized in 2019 with the Senator Paul Simon Award for Campus Internationalization, which is a designation that's given to very few universities and recognizes us as one of the leaders in global education. So now, while we have with our special program with RUW, we do have many different programs here. WVU is a comprehensive university made up of 14 different colleges and schools. There's not many comprehensive universities in the United States, and we are what's called an R1 university, which is the research classification highest. That means that of the 4,000 colleges and universities in the United States, we're within the top 130 in terms of research output and research quality. With that, we also have over 500 student organizations, because one of the things that our president, Gordon Gee, likes to say is that you have to work smart and play smart, work hard and play hard. So with that, we really believe that the student experience goes far beyond the classroom. And that's one of the highlights of American education. And that's one of the reasons that WVU works so closely with RUW, is because we both focus on the student experience inside the classroom and outside of it. So there's over 500 student organizations. Some of them are based on culture and heritage. Some of them are based on interests. We have everything from a swing dancing club to a Brazilian student association to an anime club. Anything there is, we probably have it. And if we don't, we can help you start your own student club or organization. One of the other things that we have is we have a really great job placement program. Now, whether you decide to stay in the United States or you decide to return back to the Gulf, WVU can help you when it comes time for job placement. We have an incredible alumni network of over 3,000 alumni in the Gulf region, many of whom are employed at top companies such as Aramco, Babco, wherever you can think of it, we have folks that work there, because from Saudi, particularly, WVU is one of the top 3 receiving universities of Saudi students historically. So we have many, many alumni throughout the country, throughout the entire Gulf region. So on campus, we do have job recruitment fairs that happen 2 times a year at least. So in these bring in people from the following companies, FedEx, GE, General Electric, Microsoft, we have Google, Amazon, everyone comes to these events. And so it's really great to be able to be a part of that and get that experience. We also have teams of people on campus who will help you with your resume, help you with interview skills, all of those things we can help with. The other thing is we have a really great support system specifically for international students, which is something that we know is something that's important to you as someone who would possibly be moving across the world and away from your family. Now, with that, we want you to find your own family here. And we have our Office of Global Affairs, which is my office, which helps you with everything from your visa to your arrival to any questions you have about campus. We're also one of the safest campuses in the United States. One of the top 40 safest. And we also have a professional police force of over 80 police officers specifically for our campus. That doesn't include the policing force for our city or the state itself. We also have on-site medical care. We have student health programs, mental health resources, as well as having access directly in the city to RUW Memorial Hospital, which is one of the top 5 academic medical centers in the United States. This is leading medical research, leading medical care, is literally, if I stepped outside my house, I would be able to see it. So it is right there and accessible to everyone who comes. Another big thing is, that people wonder is getting around. I will say, I know Vivian's been here. Donna has not had the opportunity yet to come, but we'll get her here soon. Morgantown's a hilly place. We are in the mountains. We're at the top of a mountain. Our campus is in a mountain, sort of weaved throughout it. So, but we do have a lot of transportation options that are available. A lot of students choose to get cars. And if you want to get a car, that's totally okay. Most people do. But we also do offer free transportation within the city. The university actually has, on the left side here, you can see the PRT. This is our tram system that navigates the city. It is actually the tram system that the Epcot in Disney World is based off of, was based off of ours. Leading project built with Boeing scientists to develop this in the 1970s. And then we also have the city bus system, which is fully free to students. Now, I know Dr. Vivian mentioned it earlier that we do have a special cost program. For students as part of this program, we offer something that's called our global rate. So I broke down here really quickly the cost. It doesn't look as nice as everything else because I put this together sort of quickly, this piece. Some information about what the actual cost is per semester. So the cost of tuition and fees will vary depending on which college you're in. So for example, if you're in interior architecture, it'll be a little bit different than if you're in a business program, just because those colleges have some tuition that is their own. But the approximate cost of each of those is going to be around $5,500 per semester. That's American dollars. Insurance cost, we're looking at around $1,200. Housing estimate around $3,500, meals just under $2,900, which brings your total semester cost to around $12,000. Now, this global rate is a reduction by over half of what the normal international students pay, which is our out-of-state rate. So where most people where you would be paying $5,500 per semester, a normal student from a normal international student, or if you were to just directly enroll, you would be paying almost $14,000 a semester. So this is a really substantial reduction, and we're really glad to be able to extend this through our partnership with RUW. And so that's one of the benefits of starting your education in Bahrain and then finishing with an American degree is in 4 years, you can bring down that total cost of your degree significantly, as opposed to if you just came directly to the United States to study. So you have a pathway, you sort of have a stepping stone. There's also just sort of the natural progression of getting used to living somewhere else. If you're in Saudi, for example, you're just across the causeway, you're in Bahrain, but you're more used to living alone, and then you can finish in the United States. So where you're a little bit further from family, but again, you'll find your family and you'll find your friends in your place here, and we look forward to welcoming you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to my colleagues.
Thank you very much, Hank. And I testify to what Hank talked about, the experience as a international student. I was there for a few years, and I didn't buy a car till actually I found an internship in Washington and I started working in Washington part-time. But that's true. You can navigate with the PRT, very pedestrian friendly. And it is hilly, but it's okay. Hilly is
It's
good.
hilly,
for
but
us.
it's manageable.
But that's an amazing student life, and you make friends from all over. So just let me put two more slides to, again, as a kind of a conclusion on what we talked about, why you should join this program, and in a summary of what Hank and my colleague Dana talked about. Well, I mean, you got it, right? You start at RUW, leading women's university, closer to your home in one of the most welcoming countries in the world. And, every year in the last 10, 15 years, Bahrain has been ranked at the top 5 destination for foreigners, right? And then you continue, you go on, and the leading US university in the Appalachian Mountains. Hank shared with us really an amazing map showing that you're close to so many cities that you probably dream of or heard of, watching movies or reading novels, or just because you've been exposed internationally in the way you grew up. And as Hank mentioned, there's close ties between Saudi and the US for many, many years, and especially in higher education. And again, think about the countless academic and student life opportunities. So we talked about, the link with companies, right? The student life, the West Virginia adventure, the international exposure. I mean, Hank is very humble, but his office organized so many exciting or oversees so many study abroad opportunities with the different schools that you would be studying at. And of course, benefit from a smooth transfer program with equivalencies of courses being worked out already, and very attractive tuition fees that Hank just highlighted. And of course, earn an American degree and commence your professional journey with an edge over other graduates. I mean, I bet there's not a lot of graduates who will have gone through the same opportunity to do a bit of their studies in Bahrain, close to home, and then eventually earn a West Virginia degree. And finally, it's all about, the cultural aspect. Embrace the close friendship that maybe it sounds corny, but this is actually true for Hank and Dana and I, who've been involved, with our friends from the other university. There's a true friendship between the people of West Virginia and the Kingdom of Bahrain. So on that note, thank you very much. We are waiting for you here in Bahrain, and hopefully to join us, and then eventually go to West Virginia, and then we will take questions. Thank you very much. So let's see some of the questions maybe for the group. So Miriam Ahmadi has a question from us. When can we transfer from Bahrain to West Virginia? I mentioned it in my overview, and Adana, I think, also highlighted it. After 1 year, you can transfer, right? After 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but the necessary condition that Hank also spoke about, you must complete your 4th year at West Virginia in order to be able to get the US degree. A question for Hank, maybe from Mariam. Is there students from Saudi at West Virginia University? Hank, this is for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now there are over 100 students from Saudi Arabia at West Virginia University. At our peak, we've had around 300 Saudi students. So there's a really great and robust Saudi population. There is a mosque here in Morgantown that is very easily accessible. I'm looking out my window right now. I can see it right in the middle of town, as well as great Middle Eastern food options, halal food options, any type of grocery or anything that you're used to, you're able to get that here because we do have such a robust community mostly from the Gulf countries, but Saudi specifically.
Miriam has a question for you, Hank, about female accommodation. Can you please help her out?
Yeah, for sure. So WVU does have female accommodation. Borman Hall is one of our residence halls, and we do have a section of that is dedicated to female only, and that is Borman North. So that is one of our residence halls that is specifically only for female students. But to be honest with you, Mayan, one of the things that we've noticed is when a lot of students come, they choose to find apartments on their own. There's a lot of campus housing, but there's also a lot of housing offered off campus. So you can find apartments in very nice, safe, and secured complexes where you can then have a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. And if you choose to only share that with have another female roommate, that's totally okay. And those places will help you figure that out, and they'll help arrange that for you. But in terms of on-campus housing, in terms of a traditional residence hall, we do have a female-only hall. But to be honest with you, most people choose to get an apartment because the cost is honestly really similar, and you tend to have a little bit more freedom when you get an apartment. You have your own kitchen, you can cook things that you're used to. I moved out of the residence halls after 1 year because I wanted those things. And I think that most students tend to do that.
And even for family, the cost in the end is a little cheaper, isn't it? Like when you live on your own, right?
Yeah, for sure. It can actually be cheaper. So I know I mentioned the housing costs there were around $3,500 a semester. You can easily find a nice apartment for the exact same cost and then have your own private bedroom and bathroom. So that is really the way to go.
Dana, can you answer Sohail's question? It's in Arabic. Can you please read us and translate it?
Yeah, so Sahil is just asking if we're moving to West Virginia, if there will be any like additional requirements or special requirements to when you move across, like your GPA. So so
Yes.
basically, if you equivalencies have been done, so when you move across, if you pass your courses here at RUW, you will be able to move across very smoothly to West Virginia. It's just a matter of passing.
You want to tell in Arabic, Dana? Maybe just explain Arabic for.
صحيح بما معناه ان اذا تنجحين الكورسات عندك اياها اللي تسوينها في البحرين يا اول سنه او ثاني سنه قبل ما تروحين وست فيرجينيا اهم شيء تنجحين الكورسات فاذا نجحتيها بس بسهوله يعني تقدرين تروحين هناك.
Okay, and Miriam had what's more classic transfer agreement. I mean, can you transfer to West Virginia and come back? Hank, I don't see why not.
So, well, the important thing to note with this no, honestly, you can of course go back to Bahrain. You don't have to stay in the US, but it isn't the last 30 credits of your program have to be done at WVU. So that basically means that you have to finish the program at WVU to earn the WVU degree. And that's an accreditation requirement of the United States. So basically how the program is working, you're transferring credits from the Royal University for Women to West Virginia. And so we just have to make sure that you finish your program at WVU and finish those requirements as a WVU student. And then I do believe you also transfer the credits back again to RUW for the RUW side of it. But yeah.
Because if a student was just going for a classic one semester exchange program,
yeah. So if you just wanted to do it as an exchange student, you absolutely could come for one semester or possibly even a year and then go back to RUW. The caveat of that would be you wouldn't be earning the WVU degree. You would still be able to find courses that would work towards your RUW degree because we've taken the time and mapped out this curriculum so that we know exactly what courses at RUW count for courses at WVU. But if you want the WVU degree, you have to finish here.
And if they were to come as a student exchange, I don't know. I don't think they would qualify for the global rate, correct?
They do not. That is correct. Now, we do, of course, have an exchange partnership with RUW and can accept some exchange students, but those are sort of limited in the number that we can take each year. But if you just come as a visiting student, we can't, the global rate that I mentioned is only for people that are transferring for their degree, to earn their degree.
Okay, thank you very much. And Sanders has a question about, are you eligible to work when you graduate with a bachelor degree? I think the answer is yes.
So, well, there's two pieces to that. So that's it's an easy question, but there's some nuance to it. So can you work in the USA? And the short answer is yes. So as a student in the US, as an international student, you are allowed to work 20 hours a week on campus for an on-campus employer. These jobs are very easy to find. It is possible to work off campus, but that requires special authorization from the Department of Homeland Security. And you sort of have to prove that you have an extenuating financial circumstance to allow it. So again, as a student, you are allowed to work 20 hours a week on campus. And then after you graduate, you are eligible for something called OPT. So OPT is a work authorization in the United States that is offered for international students that extends their student visa for a year, allowing them to work on that student visa for basically any employer that's able to meet, it has to be in a field that's related to their educational discipline is really the biggest restriction. But other than that, you are eligible to do it for 12 months.
Yes.
I don't believe some majors can work up to 36 months, but I do not believe any of the ones that we have articulations for would meet that requirement because those tend to be engineering majors are the only ones that can work longer.
So it would be good because you build on you build your professional experience, And of course, if
Absolutely.
you continue and work in the US, then you could apply for the next stages about
Right. You can get an H-1B. There's a lot of things you can do in that year. You know, if you have an employer that's able and willing to sponsor you for an H-1B, you can pursue that. But yeah, so you were allowed to complete 12 months of OPT, post-completion OPT.
Okay, thank you very much, Hank.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, under the Global Office of Global Affairs, there's people in charge of immigration and visa and helping out international students on a daily basis, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a team of people who are here to help you navigate that process. You know, once you're here and once you have questions about it, you can meet with them and they can go through it with you in much more detail and help make sense of it. Because honestly, it is complicated. You know, I mean, it's immigration paperwork, so it's not necessarily easy, but that's why we have a support staff to help you navigate that and help make it easier.
Okay, thank you very much.
There's
Do we have
one last
any
question.
other questions?
There's just one last one.
Okay, Miriam, one last question. Is there a summer semester or can we come back home, Hank?
Yeah, so you're more than welcome to return during the summer session. WVU does offer summer classes if you need them, but we don't typically consider summer a normal part of the degree program. Usually it's for if you want to get ahead or caught up with something, you can do summer classes, but you're absolutely able to return home during the summer. Yep,
Yes.
that's totally possible.
And same if you, I'm not sure, Miriam, if you're from Khobar or if you're further out. We have, as Dana mentioned in the presentation, RUW, we have dorms. So if you're close, of course, you can commute every day, but you can stay with us. But the summer session is also usually dedicated for, you could possibly do internship and more dedicated for graduating students. So we don't need to take classes in the summer at RUW either. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Do we have more questions or everything is clear? So again, I think definitely jump on it. Quite an attractive program, a unique program in the region. And we would love to welcome you in Bahrain in September. And Hank will be ready to welcome you open arms, either September 2023 or maybe later on after that.
Yeah,
and also I'll just leave my contact email in the chat in case anybody has any extra questions. We can always
yes
to those later. Yeah, did that go through?
I think it only lets us see it. I don't think the participants can see it.
Okay.
Is there a chat?
Can I do this?
You can do to
it doesn't let me change
everyone.
it.
You can do to everyone, Dana. Okay, I'll do it.
It won't.
Yeah,
let
you'll
you.
have to because you're a host.
Yeah, you're the host.
I think. Yeah.
WH. Do you know the agent number, Dana, or by heart? Or I can.
Oh yeah, just 1 second.
We also have a WhatsApp number. Actually, a number you can call, and Dana will answer you.
So that's +973, Dr. Vivian.
Okay, +973.
38.
38.
000.
Okay.
266.
So 38000266. Okay.
Excellent.
Well, thank you very much, Hank. Thank you for taking the time Saturday morning. Dear Dana, thank you for taking the time on a Saturday evening here in Bahrain. And dear friends in Saudi and dear students in Saudi, we look forward to seeing you. Mr. Ahmad, thank you very much for organizing. I think it was quite an interesting session, an interactive session. And, you know.
A pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And hopefully we have some of these students at the RUW in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.